بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, this is our first lesson of going through the book Tafsīr Al-Fātihah wa Qisār Al-Mufassal. The Tafsīr of Surah Fātihah and Qisār Al-Mufassal will explain what that word terminology Mufassal actually means later, but for now we can understand it as the short surahs. The short surahs. Qisār Al-Mufassal is referring to Surah Al-Duha to Surah An-Nas. And before we start actually going through the tafsir of these surah, it's important to go through a small introduction regarding usul al-tafsir, the foundation of tafsir, and maybe some points from ulum al-Quran. It's just some points that we need as an introduction to allow us to understand the tafsir when you eventually do the tafsir. For example, what is a Makki surah? What is a Madani surah? What is sababun nuzul? The reasons of revelation. Does that have an effect? Do we have to know it? And so on. So these points are really important for us to understand firstly before we move on to the tafsir itself, because there'll be some terminologies that we'll repeat, and I can't be explaining what these words mean every single time. So it's important to learn them in the beginning, and then inshallah once you start the tafsir, it'll become a lot easier for us to understand the tafsir. Now there are books in usul tafsir. Ibn Uthaymeen has one, probably the most famous is the one by Shaykh al-Islam, Al-Muqaddimah fi usul tafsir. However, instead of going through a separate book in that science, what I've done is I've basically summarized the most important points, and I've made it into this PowerPoint presentation which has been sent in the group, and I think they've also printed some out for you. If you don't, then you can print it out yourselves, or you can just follow from your phone, inshallah. And this PowerPoint presentation, inshallah, next week we should have it. We should have a projector as well. I've basically summarized the most important points in bullet points, so it's easy for us to follow. And whilst explaining, I might add some extra points which you can write it down. But what I need from you is that at least what is written, you need to know that. And the way we're going to do these durus, like I do with others as well, is we're not just going to go through everything quickly, because it's going to go into one ear and come out of the other. But rather we'll take a little at a time, and you guys have to learn what we've taken, and I'm going to test you after that. And if you don't know and you can't answer, there's no lesson. Now some brothers are laughing because I've done it with you guys before, right? But it's very important that you guys not only learn, but you memorize and keep and retain that information, retain that knowledge, and not just forget it. Because otherwise, what's the point of coming to a class if we're just going to forget it, right? So, inshallah, without any delay, if you look at the PowerPoint, obviously the first slide is just the title. So as you can see, مقدمة لكتاب تفسير الفاتحة وقصار المفصل. So this is the introduction for the book تفسير Surah Fātihah وقصار المفصل, the book which has been authored by Sheikh Salih ibn Abdullah ibn Hamad al-Usaymi. Sheikh Salih al-Usaymi, the one who has his famous dawrah every winter. Normally it's in winter, now it's I think in a month or two. In Masjid Nabi, 8 days, he goes through 15 books. And he's from the ulama of our time from Riyadh. Anyways, he's authored this book, Tafsīr Al-Fātihah wa Qisār Al-Mufassal. And like I said, before we study that book, we will go through a small introduction. The next slide, the contents of the PowerPoint or the presentation. You can see there's 18 points that we will go through. The definition of the Quran, some general points regarding the Quran, revelation, Makki and Madani surahs, miracles of the Quran, virtues of the Quran, the sources of tafsir, meaning if somebody wants to do tafsir, what are the sources? Not the books, not Tafsīr Ibn Kathir and so on. Originally, where did Imam Ibn Kathir get the tafsir from? Where did Imam Al-Tabari get his tafsir from? Those sources. And then the different the types of differences in tafsir. And then we'll talk a bit about the author of the book, then talk a bit about tafsir itself, then Mufassal, what does Mufassal mean? And then the reading of the Prophet ﷺ in Salah. What were the surah that the Prophet ﷺ used to recite in Salah? What's the sunnah surah to recite in Salah? And this is mentioned here because it links with Mufassal. Why have we chosen these surah in particular? Why didn't we choose Surah Baqarah or Surah Nisa or something like that? Number 14, the types of people when it comes to the Quran. Number 15, which tafsir books should I begin with? So if you want to learn tafsir, which book should we go to? Some of the famous tafsir books. Number 17, the importance of starting with the Quran. And number 18, what I expect from you while studying the actual tafsir.